Hi everyone, Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. I'm here in my office. I have the windows open, and of course, as soon as I start, the motorcycles start passing down Main Street. So I'm sorry for the noise, but it is a beautiful, glorious day, and I'm not shutting those doors unless maybe a neighbor starts to use his his power tools, which of course my neighbor loves to do. Okay, guys, so it's been a while since I've been on. I did a reading on Donald Trump. That was the last time I did a reading, and I have wanted to do more about different things, but my life sort of blew up. So that's what happens, right? Um, so just give you an idea of what's been happening here. Of course, many of you know that my dog Boo is having difficulty ambulating. He is a German Shepherd. It's not uncommon, especially as they get older, to for these things to happen. And thank you for all your prayers and great healing energy. It really does help him, actually. And my husband and I are both healers, and we do work on him. But I do believe that this is um, the nature of the breed at this point. And as long as he's relatively comfortable, um, and we can manage to, help him when he needs the help. Um, I'm not really sure how long that's going to be. The other night he was crying and seems to be in a lot of pain. There are times when, if we grab him in certain parts, and it has nothing actually to do with his back legs, it's not around his back legs that he has pain. So there might be something else going on with him. And he is 11. He's going to be 12 on his birthday. He's Capricorn with a lot of Aquarius. And of course, Saturn's in Capricorn now. And, well, Saturn's in Capricorn and Aquarius. So astrologically, this would be a time when his health would be at risk, really. And of course, his age. So thank you, everybody, for your kind words. Um, Rest assured, we'll do what is best for Boo. Um, I also had an incident with my mother, who has been I guess progressively deteriorating mentally for the past maybe 2 months now, um, and she's going deeper into dementia, and so she doesn't always know what she's doing. And the other night, she tried to get out of out of the chair that she sleeps in the middle of the night, and fell on the ground, hit her head, bled all over the rug. Brought her to the hospital. Well, they came and got her. I mean, you can't go to the hospital, so. They checked her out. They said she was fine. They stitched her up and they sent her home. Um, and it's been very challenging because her mobility is very limited now. So there's that. And we've also had some incidents with a neighbor of ours who will occasionally get a hair across his butt and then create all kinds of havoc in our lives. And it's interesting because the last time um, he's this is like the third time it's happened. The first time it happened was during an eclipse season. It was when the South Node was in Aquarius and Mars was there. And I said to my husband Michael, I said, Michael, this is bad eclipse. Let's just hide away. We'll just sit. We won't go out. We'll stay close to home. We have a beautiful yard. We'll just stay here. And the neighbor decided to have some sort of breakdown and focused it on me and my husband mostly because guy macho stuff. And then the second time he did it was when Gretchen was dying, and we had to put Gretchen down. And now we have Boo sick and an eclipse, and this guy started again. So, um, we do what we have to do, and we send love and healing in that direction as well. But we do protect ourselves because we're not stupid. Okay. So that's what's been going on in my life, and I'm sure everybody here has a story. I mean, it's really Everybody has a story, right? So, what I thought I would do is I want to take a look at the month of June, if for the United States. Um, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Wild Unknown deck, because I really like this deck. So let's see what's up for the United States. And I realize the United States isn't the only place where things are going on. But today's the 31st of May, Sunday, beautiful Sunday, and there's all kinds of protests going on right now in the United States because a black man was once again killed in police custody. And they got it on tape, this police officer who was kneeling on his throat. And the poor guy was saying he couldn't breathe. And that brought back the trauma of Eric Gardner. And, we've just about had it in this country with all this bullshit when it comes to the way blacks are treated by the police. Now, it's not all police, certainly not, but in fact, I imagine the majority of police officers, and I have friends and relatives of friends who are police officers, and they're very lovely people. I've never had an issue with a police officer. Not even that I got stopped by a state trooper in Connecticut. Those guys are pretty serious, but he was nice, and by the grace of God, I didn't get a ticket. Unfortunately, I think the reason I didn't get a ticket was because he pulled 3 cars over, and it was me, the little white girl with my 2 elderly parents in the car, and there was a car in front of me with a Hispanic young man and a black young man. So I think he chose not to give me a ticket, but I'm sure those 2 young men did get a ticket. So white privilege of the elderly, I guess. All right. So let's take a look at June for the United States. Yesterday, which was Saturday, I was in a state. And I know that, there's a lot of stuff coming down in my life, but I also felt the grief of the collective and the frustration of the collective and the feeling of anger and fear and just fed up and enough of this bull. That's what it felt like to me. And it was I ended up having to go to bed early because I was in so much physical pain. But I knew that it was psychic in origin mostly. I mean, I have a little physical pain. I am going to be 60. When am I going to be 60? Not till next year, but I'll be 59 on my birthday. So, you get achy. 30 years of moving people around, manhandling folks, adjusting them, painting your house, doing yard work. It all sort of adds up after a while. All right, let's see what's going on. All right, so this is the immediate environment. We have the Mother of Wands here. This is symbolic. We have the snake here with her clutch of eggs, and she's protecting them. So there is this sense of wanting to protect what's dear to us. Protect the potential. And yet, I believe this snake is a rattlesnake. I'm not sure. So there's this sense of protection and wanting to protect and doing what you need to do. But there's also that energy of, if you try to harm my eggs here, I will strike. So there's a sense of a strength. There's a strength here. There's I didn't expect to see this card. Um, there's a strength and a protective quality. Um, and snakes are always transformational, and fire in general is a transformation. So whenever you get the wands in a card, in a reading, there's some sort of transformation going on because fire changes things, right? Ask any piece of wood that's been in a fireplace, right? Let's see what's crossing that. Okay, so we have the Wheel of Fortune. So this is interesting because this is the card for June. If anybody hasn't seen my astrology and Kabbalah of June, I have it in two separate things. I have the Kabbalah. It's about 20 minutes long, and then I have the astrology, which is about an hour long because there's a lot going on, and I want to overwhelm you, but it's pretty overwhelming. But the card, the vibration for June is the 10-1 vibration, which is the Wheel of Fortune. Can you see that? I know the lighting here is a little. Sorry about that, guys. Here we go. Oh, that's not helping. Here we go. The Wheel of Fortune is about change, and as hard as we try to protect ourselves and sort of close in on that which is dear to us, change is going to happen, and that's the challenge. The challenge is to hold on what is dear to you while we go through change. Let's see what's at the root of this. Okay, we have the Two of Swords. So at the root, and there's an eclipse here. Okay, see that eclipse right between the points of the sword. On June 21st, we're going to have an annular solar eclipse, which is pretty much a total solar eclipse, at 1 degree of Cancer, which is the solstice point. Very, very powerful eclipse. And if you watch the astrology part of my thing, you'll see it. And there's all kinds of good astrology out there about this eclipse. And it is a very powerful eclipse. It is the same eclipse because they come in cycles. It's the same eclipse that occurred before 9/11. So not to say we're going to have another 9/11 incident. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that things are changing and things will change because of this. And certainly we can feel the change. We can feel everything sort of coming to a head and things just start perhaps feeling like they're spinning out of control. The challenge with this kind of change and the way to mitigate this kind of change is to become the observer and not get caught up in the ups and downs. And that's very difficult when you see people suffering, when you see injustice, when you see um, just callous disregard for the rights and the human rights of people. It's very, very, very hard to just sit back and watch that. But this is a lesson for all of us, and so we all have something to learn from this experience. This at the root says to us is that we're at an impasse, that we are so sort of separate in this country um, that we have stopped. The country, for the most part, has stopped. The government no longer works, in part because the Democrats and the Republicans are on opposite sides. And I will not give equal blame for that because the Republicans don't want to work with anybody. They don't want to, they don't care. It's just that, at least the ones in power. So I'm not giving the Democrats. They don't get a free ride because they're not paying attention to their base, whereas the Republicans are just paying attention to the base, and the Democrats are not, and that's not good either. Um, but at the root of this, what we're talking about here is that there has to be a break. There is a stalemate, and that's what sort of caused all of this. And we need something to change. And what's going to change is that we have an eclipse coming, and that's going to change everything. Let's see what's in the past. Okay, we have the Three of Cups here. Um, Relatively pleasant card. I mean, we could look to the past and think fondly. Like even in the past when we thought things weren't good, now we're here when we're like, well, maybe the past wasn't so bad. Um, so there's that as well. The Three of Cups is about friendship, right? In the past, the friendships. How many of us have lost friends or don't talk to friends or people who we considered friends because of their political stripes or what they believe in? Now, it's not to say you should be friends with people who don't have the same values as you, but you still have to be willing to talk to people. You still have to be willing to interact with them. Let's see what's in the sky. Oh, goodness. The sun. Look at that. Illumination. So, with the sun up there, things are going to be seen, things are going to be illuminated. And this is, generally the sun is a pretty positive card. But what's being illuminated right now really is the shadow, is all our shadow material. Um, but it is good that the sun is up there because it is a card of healing. It is a card of seeing things. But what the sun does is it delineates things. It sort of makes the lines even a bit more um, a bit stronger, right? You see the lines on a foggy day, or on a partly cloudy day, or overcast day. If you stand outside during the day and look at the shadow, your shadow is very sort of gray and diffuse. But on a sunny day, if you go out and you look at your shadow, it's very dark. And so what the sun does is the sun enlightens and also brings out the shadow. So the shadow is here, folks, and it's a shadow, it's our shadow. And we need to come to harmony with that shadow and see it for what it is and recognize it. And only until we recognize things can things change. See the immediate environment. Okay, we have the Six of Pentacles, excuse me, the Six of Cups. I love the Six of Cups because it talks about the deep roots, the deep roots. We have a beautiful tree here. It's very tall, it's very majestic, but there's actually more roots than there is tree. And so I think that this is requiring us to deal with actually with a lot of family trauma, family stuff. Of course, we're many of us are stuck with our families, and so we can't get away from them, and we have to deal with them, right? We have to deal with these issues. But the Six of Cups is, and it is also childhood stuff. Okay, it's all childhood stuff. I guess it's to a certain extent how, and six is about community, right? Six is about community, and cups is about emotion and feeling and love. And so making connections within your community, making connections within your family, remembering our past. If you don't look at the past and there's some terrible things in the past, how can you heal? How can you move forward? And I think this is a lot of the past stuff is going to come up. In fact, when you look at the Kabbalah and you look at the path that this card, the Wheel of Fortune card, is on, it is completely in the pillar of the past, in the pillar of mercy. And so this is going to be a lot of review of the past. So things that, in the case of the riots happening and I believe the man's first name is George, and for some reason his last name is just escaping me, and I apologize for that. I haven't really watched too much because my own life has been in such tumult. Um, so I keep, it's too much. Like, it's too much. I can't take it all in. Um, and I have to deal with what I have to deal with in front of me. And it's something that has pained me my whole life. I've always been um, sort of on this on like a civil rights uh, baby in a way because I was born in the 60s and I remember those days. I remember the riots in Asbury Park. I remember the riots in Newark, New Jersey. I remember those times. I grew up in Jersey City, so I remember the feelings and the fear and I was little, and my parents and my aunts and uncles, they were fearful for what was going on, and I could feel that even though I was little. So I know what this feels like. I've known what this feels like my whole life, but I'm not, I'm not black, so I don't see it from, I can't experience it from that end. It has to be awful. It just has to be awful. And I have black friends, and my goddaughter's black, and um, yeah, so it's hard, but this is the stuff we have to look at. We have to go back. We have to go back. We have to see the past. Um, yeah. Okay, let's see how this is seen from the outside. What are the other places in the world? How do they see it? Okay, so we have the Daughter of Wands here. Um, this is messages. This is an opening. Now, if you see uh, this card, which is the card we started with, which is the Mother, here we have the daughter, and she doesn't have eggs, but she's not like she's not all um, wrapped up around herself, and her wand is blooming. So that's a good sign. I think that they're seeing that the wounds are being exposed to be healed. That's what it looks like to me. Our domestic situation, the Ace of Cups. Well, that's good. So there is a sense of uh, love. There is a sense of love. There's a lot of hate out there, and there's um, a lot of bad stuff, but nowhere near as much love and care and concern. Not everybody is up on all the issues, but when somebody's in pain, most people in this country want to help. Most people want to help. And while they may not be standing in their own in that person's moccasins, or they may not be the same race or come from the same uh, um, economic position or the same cultural backgrounds, I think that for the most part people want to help, and that's indicated in this card. And so domestically, what do we need to do? We need to love one another. We need to offer the cup of love and care and concern. Let's see the hopes and fears. Okay, we have now we have the Father of Wands. This is a leadership card. We can see that there's a rising up, a striking back. Um, we have the thunderbolt or the lightning bolt coming down from the sky. I think most people are afraid of this sort of anger, this transformative power coming up to hurt. I mean, I think that's what most people. I think most people want the transformation. That's the hope. But the fear is that it's going to get out of control and people are going to get hurt that don't need to get hurt. See the outcome? Wow. So we have the Justice card. Sorry, let me see. Where can you see this best? There we go. And this is a balancing, interesting, of the black and the white. Um, so I think that as it's interesting because July is going to be an 11, right? So we're in a 10 vibration in June, and then in July we're going to be an 11 vibration, which is the Justice card. So there is going to be some semblance of justice. There's going to be a point of balance. Now those points of balance, um, they don't always last because it's a hard balance to keep. Anybody who's ever sort of measured things, weighed things, you know what I'm saying, knows how hard it is to make sure that things are exactly the same. Um, but it does look like justice is coming, and justice will be served. Now for who is that justice being served? It could be cosmic justice. It could be justice for George. It could be justice. Um, it could be something comes down from the Supreme Court. I know there's a couple of things that Trump is waiting to hear from or terrified to hear from. Um, let's see what's underneath. Okay, we have the Ten of Swords. So with this underneath it, my first thought is that this is the end of Trump's presidency. Now, I say that, I've said that before, we're waiting for it to happen. The astrology indicates that very much that could happen. So that could very well be what's under. It's like the end of this craziness, the end of this insanity. This 10 of swords is probably next to the 9 of swords is the more challenging um, card. And this is especially a disturbing card because the last sword goes through the eyes, right? It's really kind of awful. Like even the thought of that, um, even though it's not a real picture, right? It's just a demarcation. It's just a picture. It's a drawing, but all the same, it's very disturbing. Um, but there's definitely the end of something, and justice is served. So let's see. Let me just do a couple of. I think I'm going to use the Arcanum deck. I want to see what this Justice card is about. Justice for who? Justice for who? Or justice for what? Let me just quickly take a look. So if you're wondering, all of these lights, I have a disco ball on my pergola, and it makes all these lights. So they're not orbs. I guess maybe they are, or there could be some orbs around here. I mean, it's just these really bright ones are not that. Okay. All right. Let's see. What is this Justice card about? Let's see. The Nine of Pentacles. The Chariot. And the Strength card. Huh. All right. It's not evident yet to me, so just give me a minute here. Four of Pentacles. Page of Wands. This looks to me, this might actually be finding out about his taxes or that stuff. The financial stuff for Trump. That's what this looks like to me. And these are the cards that I pulled. These are the cards that I pulled. The last card being the Page of Wands, which is actually this card. These two are the same cards, actually. So it's about messages. It's about messages. Okay. And one more card. I wanna do one more card, and I'm gonna take this from the Spirit. Oh, I hope you can't really see that. Spirit of the Wheel. I've used this before. Just pick one for this month. The energy that we need to be aware of, the energy that we need at this time, the wisdom of the natives. What do these cards have to tell us about June? Show us June. Show us June. Ancestors. The wisdom keepers of this land. Okay. Introspection. Spirit path of the West. New perspective, retreat, and unity. Oh, isn't that lovely? Okay, so let's see what that says. Sounds like exactly what we need. Sounds like Michael might be up and about. It says, you have recently gone through a period of confusion and chaos that has left you feeling off center with little control over your life. Silent retreat within creates a safe place where you can calmly gain some perspective in your life. As you journey within, close off all the noise and interference of your outer world. Within the sacred space, you are able to connect with your highest self and feel oneness of spirit that will bring unity back into your life. This is an optimum time to work on developing your dreams and visions. From a place of balance and solitude, true your true nature and potential will reveal itself. Pursue your dreams with faith and trust that you will aspire to create that what you aspire to create comes from a higher vision and not from someone else's expectations. If you are working from a place of universal oneness, then the ideas and thoughts that flow through your mind are truly inspired by the divine. Taking the time to retreat and gain some perspective will bring you into a state of balance. Oh, yes. Where was that card? A state of balance. Okay. Um, where your mind, body, emotions, and spirit are all working in sync. And this is the prayer. Says, as I take the time now to gain some perspective within myself, I ask for your guidance, Great Spirit, to help me to experience that oneness of spirit that will ultimately bring unity into my life. And that is so true, because the card for the month, the Wheel of Fortune, is a 10-1 vibration. It's the one, and it's the zero, the God force. So it's unity with God, and unity within yourself, and unity with the God within yourself. Have yourself a beautiful month. I'll be here all month doing my dailies, and hopefully Boo will be with us a little bit longer. But whatever it is what it is, the way it's meant to be. And part of this is an acceptance. And this is a time of change, and we are going to change. And what we're going to change into depends on what we focus on. So focus on that which you wish to create, and then take the steps necessary to get there. Take care, guys, and I'll see you soon.